Now then, people, and welcome back to the Just Joe Football Show. I thought I'd better quickly get another video out so you can all calm down because I've seen your comments on the one that I just put out a little bit earlier. People were fuming. Someone said on the comments, you better start that other video now, I need calming down. I was like,
they need the
so
fix,
what better way to, eh?
They need the fix.
Yeah. Well, it's not
Just
me.
Joe
It's
content.
you guys. So what better way to bring you back down than to have two fantastic content creators from the content creation world? Is of course Mr. LUFC Lewis. How are you?
I'm good, mate. Well, good, as well as can be.
As well as can be. Yeah, exactly. And of course, just back from London. Doing it with the big dogs. Well, Connor from One Leeds. How are you, mate?
I've just read this comment on the video already from Chris Farrant. Joe raising people's blood pressure with that ding dong he just had on. Class. Yeah, mate. I'm good. Knackered, but and still annoyed. Really annoyed. But you know, I'm sure we'll get into that.
It's even worse when you're doing it. Because obviously I was in London for the Manchester United game. You've then gone down for the Liverpool game.
Yeah.
It makes it even worse.
I were there for. It's nice that we've all been there. Do you know what I mean? And, it's a really good experience, isn't it? And you know, John's a great guy, and so let's move on quickly. Anyway, it's great.
No, but Lewis, have you got a ticket for Newcastle on Friday?
I am, mate.
Well, I know there might be a spot, so you might have to speak to
mate, there is no chance to doing that game. They'll only have Leeds on when we're playing the top four. We get battered, so they can look at us and laugh.
Yeah, probably. You're probably right. What I wanted to do then, guys, I put a poll in the chat as well. I want to know what your expected points return are for the next 5 games. There's a poll pinned in the chat. Please do vote in that. I want to see everyone 12 to 15. That's what I'm thinking where everyone's at. But what I want to do first of all is just talk about what we feel needs to change in order for Leeds United to start getting some results on the board. As I've just said to these lads off there, I've seen people on Twitter in response to the tweet say, we should have 4 points. There's nothing to worry about. Nothing needs to change. I disagree massively because I think performance-wise, we've not been at the races. I'm just Kagey, don't be coming and chatting in the chat if you can't sit in the video, bro. I asked you to be here and now you're digging me out in the chat. You should be here with us. He's just said, just seen Connor's vid. He's on the same page, but Joe, that vid with a pool fan, yikes. To be fair to Kagey, right? Listen to this. Kagey sent me a message and I told him I was thinking of doing it, and he sent me a message just saying, abort.
Smart guy.
Smart guy.
But then Joe just thought, views.
Joe just thought, bang.
I didn't, man. I wanted to give the guy a chance to speak, man. Yeah,
that's
Christmas. It's Christmas soon, isn't it? I've got a couple of kids and that. You know how it goes.
The Just Joe Jeremy Kyle show.
Love that. But yeah, Connor, I know you're pretty. You say it as you see it.
Go on, find a word.
Yeah, no, I can't.
Half glass full, Connor's back.
Yeah, there I am.
Oh, glass.
Talk to me, mate. Talk to me. What's going on, and what do you think needs to change?
It's difficult because I sort of stay on the same level of in my pre-match we did one with Brownie, and we said that we can't overreact, and I completely stay on that, and we can't. Liverpool. I mean, they were frighteningly good yesterday. Frighteningly good, but I'm not on the notion of Liverpool were just that much better than they have been in other performances. And they just decided to turn up yesterday, and against Burnley, they weren't on that same level, etc., etc. What I'm trying to say is, why have the 4 teams that have played Leeds so far had their best performances in a long time? Everton, the exact same. They're one of their top performances. I'm not talking about results, but in terms of their performance, I've got a couple of mates who are Everton fans turning around and saying to me that's one of our best away performances in a couple of years. Burnley at home, That was, they had for about 60 minutes of the game, they were the better side, which was reinforced by Burnley fans. That was one of our top performances at home. Man United, their best performance at home for a long time. Probably.
Well, they couldn't even get a win at home. They couldn't even get a win at home last season.
I know, exactly, mate, exactly. And then yesterday was Liverpool's best performance away, according to a lot of the fan channels, etc., and podcasts today. So, yeah, don't get me wrong, it's a top side, but still, when you look at the balance of play, the Man United game, these are top sides, of course they are, but the Man United game, that realistically should have been more than 5, way more than 5. And yesterday, I mean, I've seen people saying that that's a fair result. That was a mauling. That was an absolute mauling yesterday. And they're a top side. They're a top side. Yeah. But the mistakes that Leeds were making, it was almost verging on. And this is harsh, but a lot of the going forward, the final third was dreadful. The defensive mistakes, the concentration, as I always say, 5-yard passing, the simple ways that Leeds developed so much. The transitional play was non-existent, and we looked terrified. We looked absolutely terrified yesterday. But yet last year, when we've gone up against Liverpool, we've looked fearless. So what on earth has changed? Because we looked lost, completely lost yesterday. And the reason I'm not throwing my dummies out the pram after 4 games, but I'm not seeing the same Leeds United this year as I saw last year. And we've played 3 very good teams. Everton are up there 100%. They are, and you've got to take that into contention. But performance-wise, even just spells of half an hour, 20 minutes, half an hour, whatever, where Leeds have looked good, where Leeds have, they've shown you something. The Everton game, there's an argument that we could have been 4-1 down if DCL could finish his chances. The Burnley game, a lot of Leeds fans, if we've been realistic here, would turn around, and if we'd have lost that game, they'd have gone, yeah, fair enough. We weren't great today. Man United, as I've said before, should have been more than 5. And yesterday, how many shots did Mane have? Was it 13? And Leeds had 9. He had more.
He had more than our team, didn't he? He had more than our team.
And I'm just, I'm not. Listen, and the next games coming up, of course, are going to be vital for Leeds United. But some things, I don't know. I don't know what's gone on at the minute. But I'm looking at this side, and I'm the side that last season 7 wins in 10 and looked fantastic. It just seems a shadow at this moment in time. I don't know what you boys think. Maybe I'm just being ultra negative, but I'm just...
No, bro, and you know me. Like, we were on that video before, and you said to me, "If it's like you've changed, Joe," because I was always positive, but even now, and like, even I'm struggling. Do you know what I mean? Even I'm like, I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it. I remember turning right yesterday in the ground, and like we just said off air, Lewis, we had about maybe 5-10 minutes in that Liverpool game, and I was like, do you know what? We're having a go at least, and I've not seen that. I can't. No. But the Everton game for me, it passed me by a little bit. I think it was more of an experience. Genuinely, the football passed me by a little bit because it was just being back in the ground. Liverpool, though, it's back to normal now. I'm used to it, so let's go. But I think Burnley, we were woeful. Burnley should have won the game, really. Yeah, man, Kagey, I'll send it over. Kagey's going to join us as well. I think Connor's got his juices flowing, so he's going to join us as well. But Lewis, can you add anything? You look a little bit dejected yourself, bro. Talk to me.
Look, like you just said, that first 5, 10, maybe 15 minutes at a stretch was, it was great. The atmosphere was electric, and I mean electric. You thought Everton were good.
Spine tingling, genuinely, it was good.
Because of it, the players reciprocated it. We were going at them. That first 5, 10 minutes, it was like, oh my God. Rafinha, out on right, cuts in, gives it to Rodrigo, has to score. Why? He's got all that space. The left-hand side of the goal, on his left foot, by the way, time to put it on his left foot, and not slotted it in the corner and lobbed it straight at Alisson. I still can't get my head around that. And my feelings towards him are going down and down and down.
But Lou, I don't blame him.
No, I don't, because he's not a midfielder.
You can't. You're right. You can't blame him. And I'm turning around, and I don't do this often, and I don't ever. But you look at the man who continuously puts him in there in a position where he shouldn't be, and he's trying to mold him into this central midfielder who can do both. It's not working. It will
we are
not
now
work.
at a point where we can, and it's a strong word, and there's a lot of people that would still be not sentimental, but just like loyal, like, oh, he's golden boy, we can't say anything. We are now 4 years in a position where we can criticise Bielsa. And he got it wrong at Scum away. He did. He got it wrong yesterday. He gets it wrong continuously with Rodrigo. It doesn't work in the midfield. Click and Dallas, that's it. None of this Rodrigo, then bring Shackleton on at half-time, then chop and change, then bring Roberts on. We're chopping and changing the midfield constantly. We're chopping and changing the defence constantly. Not our fault because we've got suspensions and injuries and what have you. We've now got Llorente and Strike out at the same time. What we're going to do on Friday? Play 3 at the back against St. Maximin? And the likes of that? No. But if we're forced to do that, we're in trouble again. But that's, for later on. Yesterday alone, we can't blame Rodrigo for being in midfield. Fair enough. That's not his fault. We can blame him, however, for being a £27 million striker, Spain's number 9, in front of the goal on his strong foot. Yeah. With half the goal open and putting
I thought the scoring, Lewis. When that ball got cut back where I am, I'm thinking that's Rodrigo. That's going
to Could I just ask this one thing though? And this is crucial because it reminded me a little bit of the Chelsea game. We scored really early. Bamford slotted it in, but then Chelsea, there was an onslaught. We just couldn't deal with them, which is fair enough. I still think even if we'd have scored in that game would have gone the way it went yesterday. I don't think anything would have changed. And I think that's key to note as well, because that midfield, I don't know why it's so, but I don't, even Burnley dominated the midfield. Brownhill and Westwood dominated the midfield. It was those two against KP. And it's becoming a thing, and it doesn't seem to be changing. Dallas as well. Nobody will call.
It was one of his worst games for a while.
He was poor yesterday. It's against top class opposition. We have to bear this in mind. Fabinho and Thiago, top class operators. But just how many times in the middle of the park were balls just going out for throw-ins? Were balls going into Robertson and Trent instead of going into Bamford's feet? Long balls going. Luke Ayling just playing these channel balls to nowhere, and it's. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if there's a confusion. They're a bit tired at this moment in time. They look a little bit lethargic. We also know the pressing actions are down at this moment in time. That's naturally going to happen after 4 years. It's a tough one, Joe. But in terms of your original question, what would I change? Rodrigo, obviously, he's got to stop playing Cooper there as well. I like Liam Cooper. I've come round to him a lot more, but the amount of times he gets rolled in the Premier League.
We've got an option on Friday.
I know. But in general, why is Pascal Struijk, in my opinion, the best centre back at the club? Why is he coming out for Liam Cooper? Why is that still a thing? What's going on there?
Yeah, I made a point, I think, I'm staunch supporter of Cooper, and I genuinely felt there was a conversation to be had on whether or not Struijk did start ahead of him. And I had a conversation with Oscar on Thursday night and was saying, I think if come the Liverpool game that Struijk starts ahead of Cooper, then the phasing out is happening. Obviously, he didn't. Llorente gets injured. Struijk came on, and let's be honest, Struijk was unbelievable.
He was quality. That challenge you made on Salah, world class.
I can't remember. The one where it's actually an open net.
When he came on, his passing percentage was good. He looked confident. He was composed. Everything which I love Liam Cooper. I've massively come around to him. I thought he got unfair flack last year because he barely made a mistake, but he got hounded by Leeds fans. As I say, he is a bit of a scapegoat. But this season, it's been a really poor start from Liam Cooper, especially. And you look at even Bill Ayling. I mean, I don't know what's going on with him at the minute. And when we're looking at it now, when we're looking at the system, and you're thinking to yourself, you've got Llorente out, Cock's not obviously going to be available. You've got Cooper in there. And what we're realistically looking at is if we are going to 4-1-4-1, you're going to have Ayling and Cooper as centre-halves. Now, at this moment in time, maybe last year, I'd have been a little bit confident with that. But right now, with those two, that's terrifying.
It's terrifying. I love it. But it's true, though. Luke Ayling, man, I don't know what's happened there. There was one in the second half where he played a ball out from centre-back. He was playing centre-back at this time. And I'm thinking, That's not getting there. It's never getting there. And he played the ball, and it was just like taking candy from a baby at times, I felt. I think we couldn't keep hold of the ball for longer than 2 passes, I felt. Do you know what I mean? It would be 1, 2, and then we'd lose it.
It's also like Connor said, a team that, we pride ourselves on pressure and pressing. And honestly, can't recall the last time I saw a team with so much space. It were ridiculous. The point
how many chances have we created over these 4 games as well? We keep talking about a defensive problem, centrally, but what have we created at all in these first 4 games? It's been absent, really has.
Do you think as well, and I've noted this, that Bamford's getting a lot more attention now due to last season's performance? I know
in terms of he's got the pressure back on him.
No, more so the centre backs that he's coming up against are aware of his capabilities.
Oh, right,
give him a little bit of extra special. Yeremina, Everton won't leave him alone. Tarkowski, Burnley won't leave him alone. And I know there's a lot to be said about the players getting into him as well, but his movement though yesterday, Kagey, you were touching on it yesterday. Bamford had an okay game yesterday from what he had, didn't he?
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it, to say a striker's had a good game without hardly touching the ball. But for what he was doing when we actually did try and break, he was creating space with his movement. He was pulling the 2 centre backs apart. But again, the final ball just wasn't finding him out, or wasn't it just wasn't there. The ball wasn't sticking. We're having a problem right now of retaining the ball. That's got to change in the next. Well, it's got to change from now on. I think Connor said it at the start. Hot potato. I don't know actually. I've just watched your video, Connor. I don't know if it's this one or the video previous, but you said that the ball's like a hot potato. That's exactly what it is. It seems like whenever we've got it, everyone's just trying to quickly get that passing movement, and then once we've lost it, we're all at sea. The defense is all apart. People are just running through us, man. It wasn't just yesterday as well with Matip driving through us as a centre back. Harry Maguire was doing it as well, where he was getting the ball and going up near to at the edge of our penalty area. So it's happening quite a lot. Yeah, it's something that needs to be addressed. And Lewis there was talking about Bielsa criticism. It's not criticism when it's kind of true. It doesn't mean you dislike the guy, but Bielsa once again apologizes for the performance. It's on him, but again he keeps doing the same things though. So it's like cheating on your wife or girlfriend, and then just saying, "Oh, I'll try not to do it again," but you do it again and say, "You know what? I'll try not to do it again next time." It's all mad.
And that even the man-for-man system as well, like the amount of joy they're getting, all these clubs, and they're targeting our weakness now. We obviously know centrally we've got a massive problem, but what they're now doing is completely overloading us in the middle. So you got Matip, the first goal, which obviously on that watch along yesterday. The scouser next to me said it's like a training session. He went, I don't understand what's going on. He said, we've not experienced this in a long, long time. It was just so free flowing and easy for Liverpool to move. They were just all enjoying themselves. And
I called it as well, Connor. I called it about the centre backs. If we don't have a midfield, Matip or Van Dijk will just come straight up to the edge of our box.
Tarkowski was doing the exact same thing. Like let's just not blame this on Man United and Liverpool because they are world class operators, and we keep turning around and having this rhetoric thrown at us that but we've played 2 world class teams, but the other 2 teams we finished above last year. So let's get that straight. And players like James Tarkowski shouldn't be running out, marauding and causing Leeds problems and being that extra man in the middle. And it's causing us a lot of problems. And the fact that we didn't invest in a central midfielder and continue to persist with a striker in there who has no defensive capabilities whatsoever is going to be a huge problem. Because let's be right, every central midfielder in this division, realistically, is a top player.
Yeah,
and teams are going to continue to expose this week in, week out, unless we do something different.
Connor, what are you on about?
What?
We've got Forshaw, mate.
Yeah. So, bro, I was just going to. You set it up. So this is the thing.
Kind of annoy me. Do you want me to go even redder?
This is the thing, though, right? At half time yesterday, I was speaking to my pals, and I said we just need someone to retain possession, someone to keep hold of the ball, right? Someone who will just pass it sideways. I know, like, if you think when people watch England, when we're expected to batter teams, and that's why they have a go at Calvin or they have a go at Rice, because they just pass it sideways. But they're in there to do a job, to retain possession, to keep hold of the ball and to keep things ticking over. We don't have that at all. Now, Forshaw gives you that. And I said that at half time. Now, unbeknownst to me, I didn't know he was fucking injured.
I found out this morning, mate. I found out this morning. My mate texted me, went, guess what? I went, what? He went, Forshaw's injured. I went, no way. No way. No, you're joking. You're joking. What happened? When's that happened?
The thing is, though, on a serious note, nothing against the guy whatsoever.
Yeah.
When he's played for us, you know, he's done his best. But is it at this point surely just a waste of money on wages, a waste of resources trying to get him back constantly, and a waste of time?
Yeah, Lewis, I've said before that if it was any other team in the league that had a player that was out for 2 years and a team had said that it's like a new signing, we'd be ripping them. We'd be ripping them to pieces. And it's not even like it's a knee which would be bad enough. It's his hip. You know what I mean? And look how intense that we play. And we're expecting him to come back in. And it's a point I've been making on my streams and with Joe as well. Like, we couldn't put him in against Burnley because they would have torn him in half. We couldn't put him against Liverpool because they would have ran circles around him. So when do you put this guy in? And then it turns out he's injured anyway. So
yeah.
But
this, I think the plan was for him to play 2 games in a week. And then Bielsa would say, once he's played 2 games in a week, then we'll be good to go. And then obviously under 23s went out last night or whenever it was. And it's like, well, he's not on that pitch and he's not on that pitch. And what makes it worse is the Rad Razani tweet.
Yeah.
You didn't need to be replying to anyone saying, you know, where's the new midfielder? Adam Forshaw. You don't need to say it because he's just going to get hammered with that all season now for me.
He has been. There's new replies to it like every time we played this season. So
yeah.
But where's last season when we had this incredible run, 7 wins out of 10, we adapted to the top teams, Tottenham Hotspur, obviously Chelsea, Man United, Liverpool, gaining results off all of those teams, and we adapted. You know, we're defensively sound and we worked on the counter attack. Is that now not a thing anymore? Are we now not adapting to the top teams? Are we reverting back to the original style, which was, you know, we go for them, they go for us? Because we saw the blueprint, hence why we changed. We changed after the 6-2 defeat, and it worked in our favour. I understand the fact that we can go against your Southamptons and your Crystal Palaces without any disrespect and really go gung-ho and in attacking style. But why can't we adapt for the top 6? Because this style of play, we're just getting picked off against these top teams. Do we genuinely think we're going to go up against Manchester City this season, Chelsea this season, when they've evolved? And we don't go into these games thinking we're going to win, but you know, we always have that hope that maybe we can nick something based on last year and based on how we changed. But now we seem to have reverted all the way back to what we were doing again.
Mate, do you know what? We did the scum preview, the scum preview on here or on your channel, or I did both. I can't remember. You know, I'm not biased. Help everybody out.
What do you mean? You're not biased?
Well, I did it on your channel. And I did it on Connor's channel. You know,
make your point.
And Kate's channel.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, we basically said that bit of Ollie slander. Obviously, don't really look good in retrospect now. But we basically said went to Old Trafford, got a battered 6-2. Went to Ellen Road. We changed how we played to adapt to them 0-0. And we did that against Liverpool, and we did that against Chelsea, and you know, after we've been battered, and we did that against Spurs. Then we were saying, "Oh, right now, he's only going to be able to adapt to how we played at Ellen Road, because no doubt we'll play like that at Old Trafford." And I feel like we tried that for so long, and they just kept getting through us and through us. The man marking was non-existent. The only positive to take from that was we looked decent at defending set pieces. That's it. But the amount of space just kept cutting through, chance after chance after chance. They could have scored 4, maybe 5 in that first half. They only got 1. Then we come out in the second half and we reverted to how we played against them when we got battered 6-2. Straight away, you could see it. We were just going at them and we scored. But then when we scored and equalised, that's when we should have maybe gone back.
Ayling was still celebrating and we were free.
Yeah, I know, mate. I know. But when we get that 1-1, which were a miracle in itself, because we should have been nowhere near 1-1. It should have been.
He was going like that. Did you see that, Tyler?
We were all in disbelief. We were in disbelief, but we still carried on playing, all guns blazing, and then 2-1, 3-1, 4-1 in quick concession. Yesterday, we're the same thing for so long, and it's like we don't know how to set up, and we keep changing it. We keep chopping and changing half time. Sorry, at Scum we bring Shackleton on for Rodrigo. Yesterday we bring Roberts on. It's like we've got no consistency really, and with how we play, with who we're playing. So it's a great point from Connor in terms of, are we just not clueless, but do we have an identity against the top six? Or is it just try it, if it don't work, try something else, if it don't work, whatever?
Yeah. Do you know what? I'm just going to pick this up as well, because this is Liam G said, insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. I said the exact same thing after Barnsley.
Before Einstein.
Yeah, before Einstein. No, but I did. I can go back and I remember saying that after Barnsley away, and then we went on a run. You know, so I like me and Kagey were saying yesterday, I don't think any of us are actually concerned about.
Ask me in 6 games time.
No, I'm not concerned right now.
No,
just only because of the fixtures that we've got coming up.
10 points at least from that.
Yeah, no, I'm not, I agree with you, boys. I'm not concerned at this moment in time. If we were to go to Newcastle and lose, then we've got a really tough game against West Ham, which we all know West Ham have started like a house on fire. But in between that, we've got Fulham. We just need a win. And, you know, when it gets to sort of 6, 7, 8 games and you haven't picked up a win, that's when the rut starts. Leeds don't want to get themselves into a rut in the Premier League because it's so difficult to get out of just because of the quality everywhere else. So I'm not concerned as of yet. But, you know, October the 2nd, I think we play Watford at home. And I'm not saying we're not going to get anything out of the Newcastle games. I think we will. But if we haven't, and, you know, then we've got the cup game against Fulham, then the game against West Ham. If we're going into the Watford game on the 2nd of October, needing a win again, 6, 7 games in, I'd be slightly worried then, definitely. But they just need. I wanted yesterday. I didn't care if we lost. I knew we were going to lose. I knew it. I knew we were going to lose. I think we all probably did. But I just wanted to see something. That's all. Just you know, a 10, 15 minute spell, or we really competed with them. I think this season, based on the chances against, Leeds have been extremely lucky to get away with the results that we have. I think the other teams have been actually very wasteful against us, to be honest.
Mane could have had loads yesterday.
Yeah. I said to Joe yesterday, this game yesterday was worse than the Man United one. If Liverpool could finish properly, the score could have been 6 or 7 quite easily as well.
Easily, Kagey as well. Easily 6 or 7.
And Mane he had an open net and skied it. That's one right there. The disallowed goal.
Connor, you made the point as well about going into October. And I made the point again yesterday to Joe, but it's worth seeing how you guys feel about it. Our crowd is great. We know it is. But when things aren't going our way, Ellen Road can be a tense place before kickoff. You know, you can hear the rumbling. You can hear the sigh of a misplaced pass very loudly when things aren't going right. And that's something else we've got to look out for, because, again, this is a factor that we didn't have last season. People could ping it about, lose it, and it would be fine. Now you heard yesterday when there was a few misplaced passes, the Ellen Road crowd just like, oh.
Mate, do you know what it was like?
And it can make certain players shrink. You know, even ex-players, players that are playing now have said that some players preferred playing with no crowd. They loved it. And you just
like a training pitch for them, eh? Yeah, someone made that point on Twitter. Someone made that point on Twitter saying that it was like 38 murder ball sessions, whereas now you throw the crowd in, it's an added thing. Do you think this a case? Because I know, Connor, you mentioned about people looking a bit scared, maybe. And for those, listen, I was frustrated as shit yesterday. Like, I can't lie, it is frustrating, and I think it's just, man, 2 passes and then the same people losing it all the time. You're like, what are you doing, man? What are you doing? Tyler Roberts' effort that he tries all the time, that side foot thingy, like, it was miles wide, man. It's like he had so much time as well. It's like, what are you doing?
Connor made a point. It's connected to what Kagey just said, and I'll reply to it. Basically, you said even if Rodrigo would have scored that, the game wouldn't have gone any differently. Now, in terms of us getting beat, I agree. I still think we'd have got beat. It'd be ludicrous for me to turn around and go, you know, when we had 9 shots to 30 or whatever it was, something stupid like that.
Did we
that
have
we
9?
wouldn't have lost. I don't know. I know they had 30.
We did. We had 9, and Mane had 10 of them for them. So he had more shots than we did. Yeah.
So I think, you know, if we score that, it could have been maybe, I don't know, 2-3-1 them. Like, just we had to go with, would they give it a better go? It'd have been maybe more of a balanced game. We'd have still lost. Like, be ludicrous to turn around and say one. But the biggest factor then connected to what Kagey just said is when we didn't score that, and the tide kind of turned a little bit, and then it were them coming at us, and it would, if you remember, it was chance after chance after chance, and then eventually Trent squares it across, and you know the score, and then from then on it was the same thing. We just got hammered with shots. The atmosphere went from electric to players are reciprocated it to, oh my god, come on, we can go at these, we can give them it, to you could hear a pin drop at one point, mate, and you know. I love to hype our atmosphere up, and I'll stand by it. It's the best in the country and what have you. But I say it how it is, and I'll be honest. It was flat for a long period of the game, mate. Up until
I thought it was all right, Lewis.
No, Matt, I'm on about. No, there was a spell. I mean, after we conceded, it was still kind of, oh, we all love Leeds, blah blah blah. But then when we went 2 down, mate, it worked.
We don't love them.
that rate. You could hear a pin drop. Everyone just kind of stood around like, well, what's going on here? And then it went from electric to silent to, we've lost this. Let's just turn on the fans, Liverpool fans. And that's where it became toxic. And that's when it was Liverpool and Leeds going at each other.
Do you know what, though? I think the referee has a lot to answer for in that.
No, yeah, 100%. But I said, I tweeted straight away yesterday. I went, look, it was 10 versus 12. It was 10 versus 12. It were awful, disgraceful refereeing. I mean, you talk about the red card. It wasn't a red. The referee literally saw the challenge in front of him and let it go. And then when Klopp stuck his oar in, and you know, I've nothing against Klopp because you know, if he in that moment thinks it's a bad challenge and he's seen it incorrectly, I don't think there'll have been any malicious intent to try and get a player sent off knowing that it wasn't a bad challenge because you know, but you know, it is Kloppy. He's had instances in the past where people have criticised him for that, but I don't have anything against him. But you know,
he shouldn't have entered the field.
No, but it were you know how he is about his players.
Yeah.
He's very big on like a family thing, and if he thought that were wrong, but the officiating were awful. But I said straight away when it was 10 versus 12, that's no excuse. Would have been battered either way. We were disgraceful yesterday. End off. Apart from that first 10 minutes.
Yeah. Right. Let's move it on from Liverpool and what's gone on before. Let's have a think about what needs to change moving forward. So I've seen someone made a good point in the chat. They mentioned Shackleton in midfield.
No.
Now again, I want you to not look at this from Bielsa because when I see that, I go, for me, Bielsa doesn't think Shackleton's a midfielder, so you might as well just draw that. I think he sees him as a right back. That's all I see. I don't think he sees him as a midfielder at all. That's just my opinion on what I think is. But there's a case, again, I want you to tell me what you would do. So, like, for me, you know, Rodrigo would be the one. Stop starting him. Because why are you starting him? Because at every 45 minutes, you're bringing him off because he does absolutely nothing and you're changing him with Roberts, right? Like, me and Kagey were speaking yesterday. If you amalgamated them two players, you'd probably have a player that can play a high 8. Do you know what I mean?
Still won't be able to finish, though.
Yeah, that's a good point. But yeah, there's that. Look, Luke Kaling, is there a case that he needs to come out? Do we need to start Shackleton at right back, possibly? Do we switch it up? Do we move Rafinha in the middle and start Dan James from the start? Do we give Rodrigo run up top? I'll start with you, Kagey. What do you think needs to change, or what would you do up against Newcastle?
Well, listen, what I would do is I would put in Charlie Questwell because it's Newcastle, and I think if that's his debut game for us, that's a really good start for him in terms of the league. It's not a hard start. They won't have Callum Wilson. He's out until after the international break, so I think that would be good. I'd maybe even give Drama a start at right back too, just to change it and see what we can do. And I say this on the basis that Luke Ayling did very well last season, and you know he's a good player. But I like.
He wasn't good yesterday, was he?
No, he wasn't good. But this has been a theme actually for the 4 games so far, and It kind of reminds me of George Baldock last year for Sheffield United. Had an outstanding first half of the first season, then he was dipping away before the COVID. And I just kind of think that maybe it just needs a different look there. Like I said to you, Joe, I think a couple of players there are a little bit comfortable because they know they're going to get picked. And for me, you need somebody to threaten your place. And if Drama comes in and plays just a little bit how he does in the under-23s, it might make Luke think, you know what, I need to do a bit better as well on the right-hand side. Give us more of a threat from the right, because everything we do seems to come down the left. It's Firpo, Harrison. It's never Ayling, Rafinha. It's only Rafinha then taking it and carrying it up by himself without Ayling really overlapping or anything. So it may give us something new there. I just think as well that we just need to get somebody in the middle. And I know Shackleton isn't seen as a midfielder by Bielsa, which is why I made that joke on Twitter today. And, people seem to like that one. But he would have done a bit more tracking back than anybody else there. And if he's tracking back, like I said yesterday, I don't think Matip runs through as easily as he did yesterday. It just gives us another option in the centre of the park to hold the ball a bit as well.
Who would you? So with Creswell, who would you have him alongside at centre back? Are you factoring in the fact that there's no Strout, no Llorente, no Koch?
Yeah, so there's no one, is there? So we're literally down to Cooper, and this is the thing. I said at the start of the season, and people that watch me know this. Our 4 centre backs would be good enough over the season, but that's on the basis that certain couple of them aren't playing as regular as they have been. Unfortunately, we're down to the bare bones yet again with these guys. And I know Llorente says that he's probably not going to be out long, but somebody else said that Bielsa says it may be 4 to 5 weeks. I don't know, but what's not long to Llorente is too long for us because we need him fit and firing. You know what I mean? He's easily our best centre back on that right hand side. Yeah, we're just depleted again at the back, and like we said yesterday, the only person of our signings that has been durable is Rafinha so far. And we just need to see if other clubs. Does anyone know if the club are going to try and appeal this red card? You've even got Harvey Elliott today saying that it wasn't a red card.
Is it down to Bielsa or is it the club's decision? I don't know how it works.
Yeah, it'd be the club, wouldn't it? The club would have to make. But there is a case there, Lewis. There is a case there that Bielsa would say no. There genuinely is a case there.
Again, like, I love the guy to bits, but sometimes when he tries to be humble, sometimes it just comes across as you don't need to be. Like, you're just being annoyingly stubborn for the sake of it. Like, if there's something wrong here, then just say it how it is rather than... but we only see it from a fan's point of view, and I suppose he can only say so much when it's on an official platform, when it comes to refereeing or if it comes to anything like that. We'll just say how it is, whereas maybe it's partly humble and maybe it's partly just not wanting to get into trouble or can't be bothered with fair enough. But we'll see what happens with that. We should appeal.
Yeah, Lewis, in regards to Bielsa, it's like other managers yesterday when they saw Klopp next to the referee, they would have been on there too and saying, what the hell's going on here? Or somebody from the staff, anybody would have been there to...
Have you seen him, Kagey? As soon as he stops whispering in his ear, he goes straight over to Strout to give him the red.
Yeah.
It's almost instantly.
It's so obvious, though. We don't need to go into that. But it's more the fact that our players are told to respect the ref. But even the players after a bit got tired of the referee's performance because when he didn't give it for the handball, the players, Calvin, Rafinha, a couple of them went over and said, what's going on here? You
could tell by Calvin's face.
Yeah.
He must be. I mean, he must be so knocked off at the minute. I think his level has gone up again, being surrounded by the England setup. And when you go away and you've got,
and it's the performances he's putting in on his own as well, Connor, against the Liverpool.
Yeah. I mean, you've literally got him at England sat next to Declan Rice, 2 extremely competent CDMs. And he comes to Leeds, and that transition must be so difficult for him to be going away, to be understanding Rice's movements, to be, to and fro between him and Rice and really understanding that position, to then be thrown back into the Leeds side where effectively you've got 5 men going forward and Calvin is that man who sits. You've still got your fullbacks bombing on and Calvin is that man who screens those 2 centre-backs then when you look at it from a system-based perspective. I feel for him at this moment in time because his level has stepped up, and I don't know where we'd be without him at this moment.
How ironic is it what you just said though? When he first got into that England side, all that were being said, well, he must be so bored. Like this is not Bielsa ball. Like he can't wait to get back. And now you've got people like yourself saying, coming back to Leeds is like some sort of nightmare because he's leveled up. And do we worry about that?
Lewis, when I say nightmare, I don't mean like he's having a horrible time and he hates it. I think I just mean sort of, you know, when he's a specialist in that quarterback role. I think I just mean the work for him. And I think as an individual, he must get frustrated with it. He must get frustrated with the fact that he doesn't have someone next to him in that midfield who, even if they're not as competent as him, are nearly on his level and you know, can at least retain possession and move it well through the lines. And I think you saw him yesterday. There was a couple of times he threw his hands up in the air, and it panned in on him when Mane scored the third, and he just looked so dejected because
he was unreal yesterday, though, mate.
He was unbelievable.
He was unreal. Like the best I've seen him in a very, very long time in person. Anyway,
but I just don't know if the rest of these players who were with us in the Championship, and this is very easy for me to say 4 games in, but with the evolution of the Premier League right now and how much teams have improved, you know, I even watched the Palace game the other day and I thought, I watched it.
Talk to me about my boy. Talk to me about him.
No, here we go. Here we go.
Nah, it's true though. Conor Gallagher would have been amazing in this side. Man.
But you know, but what I mean is just there's been an evolution of the Premier League in general, and it seems like this Leeds United side, especially some of our Championship players, we can't carry them. They have.
Are we too sentimental? Are we too sentimental?
I get. Joe will tell you, I get crap for that all the time on here. People think I'm just trying to get rid of all these guys and say thanks for the promotion, now get lost. But it's what you have to do in the Premier League. You have to slowly move them out. And for me, we didn't move enough out in the summer. I was expecting 4 or 5. I mean, he got a new contract for God's sake. and again, you guys, I said it to Joe, but we've got Liam Cooper and Tyler Roberts, who are Wales and Scotland internationals, and they don't start regularly for those countries. That tells you something, because there's Championship players that start ahead of them.
Mate, do you know what it is? When you've got people saying, like, when Roberts comes on, for example, and you've got people saying, "Oh, Roberts looked good when he come on." That's half praise and half shock. Now, if you're shocked at a player being good, second season into the Premier League, why have they got a new contract?
And why does it, if he's that good, and if he's that good, why has he gone from starting week in, week out to never starting?
Yeah. And also on Connor's point as well to Calvin Phillips, what other people have got to realise as well is that England players talk. The Man City boys will talk. They'll say, "Hey, what are you still doing there? You should come and join us. We can do here." Liverpool boys, Henderson, you replaced him here. Why don't you replace him here? These conversations happen. And as Calvin now is becoming one of the linchpins in that England team, we know how high his stock is. Eventually, those conversations are going to come where he's going to say, "Guys, Gareth Southgate and everyone else thinks I need to go up another level now and go into Europe."
Kagey, just adding to that as well, you've got Manchester City, who Fernandinho's coming toward the end of his time. You've got Man United, who are desperate for a defensive midfielder as well. You've got these teams who are going to be sniffing around Calvin Phillips 100%. They'll be scouting him right now as we speak. They'll know his numbers. They'll be watching him week in, week out, sort of probably gauging what offer would get him there. And this is why Leeds United we seriously need to start upping it, because Calvin's going to need to start seeing something, because we have to be attractive for him. The same with Rafinha. We have to be an attractive proposition for these players to keep holding and retain the services.
Yeah. The thing is as well, it's like, okay, if we finish bottom half and we continue performing like we are, people are saying in the chat, you need to relax. None of us have said we're going to get into a relegation dogfight. Not one person has said that. So let me just get that out there as well. We are relaxed. We're having a conversation. That's all this is. No one's losing their head. What I'm saying is, based on the current performance, if we get to the end of the 38-game season and we finish 14th, 15th, 16th, around there, let's say, for example, we're not in a relegation dogfight. It's harder to sell to a Rafinha and Calvin to say, look, we're going to invest another 100 million. We can bridge that gap. What, from 16th? Are you sure about that? Whereas if we finish in a similar position to where we did last season, 8th, 9th, 10th, then it's much easier to have that conversation. Look, we're buying this player, that player, that player. Give us one more. I think you've got more chance of Calvin going, yeah, I'll give you one more. For me, I think Rafinha goes in the summer. That's just my opinion, right? I do. I think it'll be too hard to keep hold of. That's just my opinion, and I hope I'm wrong. I think Calvin gives us longer. I do. But we need to think about where we finish, you know. What I will say as well, and I don't know where, I'm seeing a lot of people, because of the way, I don't know, Premier League Twitter is. I mean, forget, man, Twitter's a small thing, but people are saying they preferred life in the Championship.
No.
I can't get my head around it. Like, we spent 16 years down there, and we come up one season, and then now it's like, oh, mid-table. I'd rather we were, you know, competing and up and down. No.
It's a small club mentality. That's a Norwich mentality. That.
You don't need that.
Listen, that's just a cop-out for going up against quality and just
getting beat
outplayed, rather than us having our wicked way with those Championship sides. So that's all that is talking. Do people really want to go back to where we make David Perkins turn up every summer looking like Xavi against us and then go missing for the rest of the season because we're the big scalp in the Championship? I know I certainly don't want that again. And it was 16 years too long. Do we want to go back? No way. And I wouldn't want to be a yo-yo team like Norwich and Fulham either. Now this is just it's just a painful process right now.
I think that comes from a place of we've been, I don't want to say top dog for those 2 years in the Championship, because obviously we didn't win the league.
2 years,
in the end.
2 years out of the 16. People are getting short memories.
A lot of these people who are saying that, Joe, will have come in from Monk onwards.
The rest of the 14 years, 14, 13 was our position. That was our boy in the Championship.
Monk seventh. Under Christensen, we were top at league half at season, and then we fell off. And then Bielsa come in, we ended up there third. And then obviously fourth season, we win the league. So for those 4 seasons, it was an improvement on just mid-table. We were up there at times, and then we were up there permanently. So in the sense of enjoying it week in, week out, being top dog, battering everyone, feel good at Ellen Road every week, every away game, buzzing, loads of chance, blah, 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 back to we aren't top dog anymore. We've got to expect to get battered at times. You can't expect to be going home happy having won by 3-4 goals every week or whatever. And, you know, and again, I've had my rants on Twitter about this. I think a lot of the atmosphere and chants have dried up as well, whether that's because of nerves through games or whether that's because we've had players leave and we can't have them chants anymore. It just seems to be we all love Leeds, all Leeds, aren't we? and whatever.
I've seen your little. This is why there was a lull yesterday, because people will try to remember your created chants on Twitter. Oh, how did that one Lewis create?
But you know, that's me. That's me going on a sidetrack. But from there, from them saying I prefer the Championship, obviously on the pitch, but Prem's where you want to be. For money, for broadcasting, whatever, for everything, it's where you need to be, especially in modern football.
It's not even that, bro. No,
the fan. I know, I get it. I get it.
But what I'm saying is, just hear me out. Yesterday, we were battered, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'd much rather see that than be in the Championship getting beat by a rubbish Cardiff or a rubbish Middlesbrough, because yesterday I could respect what Liverpool brought. You know, it made me, I had a little wry smile when Trent Alexander-Arnold were getting told you're just a Kyle Walker, and then he gets an assist and he turned around and he went, and you know what? I said, fair play.
Yeah.
Fair play.
And I just said the same with Calvert Lewin.
That than going to the Championship, seeing fucking Nathan Jones as Luton beat us 1-0 by Cornick or whatever his name was after we peppered them. I don't want that. I don't want that. I think it's short-sighted because, like you said, we're not winning every week.
And also, Joe, the whole journey of having good results in the Championship is the journey to get to the Premier League. So if you're not on the journey to get to the Premier League, then what are you doing?
I mean, that's Norwich in a nutshell.
Yeah.
It's literally just go down, enjoy the season, and getting back up again. On loop. We don't want to be like that.
Yeah, we've been beaten. I was there for the away 6-0 defeat to Sheffield Wednesday. Do we want to go back to that? No chance. No chance at all. where we don't even get shots on target. And then when someone does a 35-yarder and it goes straight into keeper's hands, that's when we celebrate. Like, hey, no, we don't want to go back to that, people.
I think Friday is just crucial. Like, let's just, you know,
what changes do you make, Lewis, for that? What changes do you make for Newcastle?
Can I say, like, in general, because
You're
me to
Bielsa,
turn around,
bro. Do it, make your changes.
What for Friday?
Yeah.
Well, if we don't appeal this red card, let's just, you know, Devil's advocate, just Strike and Llorente are going to be out. I mean, Llorente's injury might not even be that bad, and he might be there, but let's just say they're both out. Then you've got Cooper, you got Cresswell, you got Drama. Kagey makes a good point, but then I was just thinking to myself, when you've already got people sort of questioning Bielsa, when you've already got people up in arms about the first 4 games, do you then take the risk of giving 2 players the debuts when we're in desperate need of 3 points?
One thing I will just say to that. One thing I'll let you carry on with this. One thing we were told about Bielsa was the bringing through of youth. And people always say this to me. We've not seen it. We've not seen it.
Clark were probably the last one.
Yeah. I don't think we see enough of it, personally.
He gave Dots a go at Arsenal. But I mean, yeah, the defence, I couldn't comment. Like, I genuinely, I would assume, unless we're going to start like Cresswell and Drama and what have you, when we've got like youths left back and right back and what have you, Ayling would probably go centre back with Coops. That we're going to play 3 at the back. Now, that'd worry me a lot against, you know, the likes of St. Maximin. But anyway, Rodrigo dropping. I mean, that goes without saying. I'm just at the point now where you accept that whatever, Spain's number 9, £27 million work. It might not be his fault. He's not a midfielder, end of. You have Click and Dallas there. Done. Or, alternatively, and this won't happen, even though Bielsa said that he would like to see Rafinha down the middle when he came in. Rafinha behind Bamford, Harrison, James. I'd like to see that. Don't think it'll happen personally, but realistically, just drop Rodrigo and have Click and Dallas in the midfield. And in general, saying that with everyone fit, Melia, Llorente, Strike, Firpo, Ayling, Phillips, Click, Dallas, Rafinha, Bamford, Harrison. Or like I said, James and Rafinha behind Bamford. But Rodrigo just doesn't fit there for me anymore. And I think having him on the bench and bringing him on for Bamford in sort of the 60th, 70th minute, unless Bamford's having a stormer of a game, which he has had a lot of, you know, good games recently. Can't take it away from him whatsoever. You know, he might not have been bagging every game, but I think he's had good performances every game nonetheless. Maybe apart from Scum away, weren't really involved. But Everton, Burnley, and yesterday, certainly, it looked good. But, you know, that's someone great to bring off the bench for Bamford sort of late on. Stop trying to just work him into the midfield because it just don't work for him. Again, you're going to get people saying, oh, you're not Bielsa, you don't know better than Bielsa. But we're 4 seasons in now where you've got to allow a bit of leeway for fans to have
I think you're right, Lewis, you know. And do you know what? Where people said you can't question Bielsa, I will 100% question him on Rodrigo. I think Bielsa is the only man that thinks that's working. I think you're hard pushed to find a Leeds fan that can tell you, yeah, I'm happy with Rodrigo. He gives me enough in there.
And again, even what I said earlier, like the midfield argument is there to be had, fair enough. And people say, oh, I'd be great at strike, blah, blah, blah. He was, again, and you can see how angry I am about it because I think it would have maybe changed the game a little bit in terms of just the competition and the way it panned out. You've got him in front of goal, in the 6-yard box, on his strong foot, with half of that goal open. Bamford slots that bottom left corner. He's looked at Alisson and put it straight at him, and I just don't understand it. Where's the composure of an experienced 30-year-old, Spain's number 9, do you know what I mean? Where's that? You can't argue for him. He can't start, whether that's at strike, whether that's in midfield. You're not going to replace Bamford anyway.
There's a case as well, Connor, to think that, I don't know if one of you guys said it or I heard it on something earlier on. I don't know if it might have been, I can't remember, but someone said there's a case that Rodrigo won't be enjoying this either, Connor. I don't think Rodrigo's thinking, yeah, I'm happy you're playing me in this position.
Mm.
Of course, he
Yeah,
wants to get game time. I think he's happy as number 9 to come off the pitch every single time, 45 minutes, not getting a look in at Spain anytime soon because he's not playing in his preferred position. I think behind the scenes, Rodrigo's probably going, I'm sick to the back teeth for this.
Yeah, no, I agree. Apparently, I think there was one game as well. I don't know if it was Crew, but he left right on the 90-minute mark as well. He was pictured leaving right on the 90-minute mark outside when obviously the team talks were being held and stuff like that. So I think he was brought off in that game. Wasn't that impressive in the 9, to be fair to him. That was a game where I thought you've got to do something here, and he didn't. He looked, he was taken off. Bamford came on and changed the game. Yep. So when he has these opportunities, he's got to take them. He has got to take them, and that's got to be pressed at him as well. But before he signed for Leeds, he was frequently Spain's number 9, and now it'll be interesting to see what Luis Enrique thinks of it, because I wonder if the Spain gaffer actually now thinks to himself, well, I can't put him as number 9 for Spain because he's playing in central midfield for Leeds. So that'd be a fascinating thing to get from someone like Enrique. But a lot of us are talking about the Rafinha and Harrison. I've just made a few notes here in the central attacking midfield option. See, defensively, I'd still be worried in the 4-1-4-1 there. You're looking at 2 massively attacking players then. And then let's say if you bring in, you debutise Dan James on the wing and you bring, let's say, Rafinha or Harrison in central, they're still going to have to do that Rodrigo role. Are they going to be more competent in that role defensively in central midfield than a Rodrigo? I don't know. Yeah. I mean, we've never seen it before. So that's definitely something to look at. Daniel James, if we were to do that, I'd look at starting Daniel James, because I think Daniel James would absolutely murder Emil Kraft or Jacob Murphy. That's something we could really expose. Yeah. But in this game, for me, it's just the attack is the best form of defence, because I think right now, when you look at our back 4, I think, if you went with Ayling, Cooper, Shackleton, obviously Firpo, I think I've just put down here, keep it away, and I think if we are just devastating in attack and we score more than you, which we saw all of last season, I think that's the way Leeds United win this game. And we're going to leak chances, because Saint-Maximin is top class. And Luke Ayling, even when he was on fire, struggled against Saint-Maximin.
Mate, it's horrors in Newcastle there.
Yeah, he did. And he wasn't fit either, was he? If he'd have started the game.
Yeah, no, he wasn't. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
It'd have been a really difficult one. But as Kagey said earlier, Callum Wilson, the focal point, is going to be massive. But listen, Newcastle still created a lot of chances against Man United, a lot of chances. So it's definitely a game to be wary of. And last season, when we played them at St James's Park, they were worthy of a draw in that game, 100%.
I think this is my thing, is that I do think we should beat Newcastle. I think we can all agree with that, but I don't think it's going to be as cut and dry. And I
don't agree with that. I don't. Honestly, I don't see how in our current form, and you can argue, we've played Liverpool, we've played Scum, we've played a good Everton side, and we've played Burnley at Turf Moor, and it's hard to beat them there. But I don't see how, and like Connor just said, they gave Scum probably a better go there yesterday than we did.
Oh, yeah.
Now, they still lost 4-1, but they're way more promising than we did against them. We're also not a bad side at all on reflection. They also give us a good goal last season. I don't think... I mean, we're allowed to have different opinions, fair enough, but I don't think we're just going to go there and turn them over, a simple win. Same with people thought we're going to go to Burnley and turn them. I didn't think that, because I knew it was going to be an hard game. I know how Burnley play, especially early on in the season. I know it's hard to beat them at Turf Moor.
St James's crowd as well, Lewis, is going to be
vibrant. Again, that was going to play a massive part. And again, I don't think it's as simple as saying, we're going to turn Wolves.
I think we expect to win, though. You would think, no?
No, I think I'll take a 1-1 there, mate, honestly. And again, people are going to say, 3 points out of 15 compared to last season's disappointing. Well, yes, it is, but you don't go to St James's, a sold-out St James's Park against a decent Newcastle side and expect to come away with 3 points, especially in our current form. Now, if we come away with their 3 points, I actually will be buzzing, mate. I don't think they're as easy as just walking over them. Now, if you're going to say Norwich or Watford, fair enough. That's when I'm going to be like, right, really, we should be beating them.
Newcastle are in that bracket, bro, for me, anyway.
I don't think they are. A Newcastle or a Wolves, like that, they're them kind of sides.
Wolves are different. But again, it's football's about opinions in it.
I'd be very happy with a win.
Saint-Maximin will get it up to the byline, will get it into the box as many times as he wants, but he can't finish for Toffee and he can't pass the ball for Toffee. That's just my
Famous
opinion.
last words.
No, it's true. He's like Adama Traore. He's like Adama Traore for me.
Yeah.
He's better than Adama Traore.
Yeah. All right.
His
okay.
numbers tell you that, man. He can't finish, man. There you go. He'd probably score a hat-trick. It is what it is.
Unless it's off the back of Melia.
Yeah. Christopher Junction asks, 2 up top, thoughts, 3-1-4-2. We're ripping up the rule, but we're not got 2 up top, will we? Anyone?
I mean,
you know, I remember, right, because obviously I lived in Borough for a period of time, and they're mad on that, you know. Every time they would go, just put 2 up top, man. Put 2 up top, man. Like back in the day. 2 up top, wouldn't work, would it? 3-1-4-2?
Nah, it's just I
No.
don't know. I don't think Bamford would. Bamford's very much a target man now, and I don't think he would enjoy the sudden change of. But then again, he holds play up a lot, and he loves to just lay it off. I don't know. I don't think we need to change that drastically.
I think as well when you look at some of the opposition he's been coming up against as well. I really think Tarkowski could maybe operate at an Everton level. To be honest with you, you know, you look at the battle he had with Yerry Mina. Obviously, he's had Maguire and now Virgil van Dijk. Who I was just watching Van Dijk yesterday, and I thought, you are insane. You are so good. Like how he operates, how he just talks to Matip constantly, how his recovery runs are always on point. He's always deceptively slow, but he's not. He's always, his positional awareness is incredible. He wins everything. And I just think that these players that Bamford have come up against in terms of centre-backs at this moment in time, he's got involved with a bit of rough and tumble, of course he has. But I think when you look at someone like Jamal Lascelles, who he's going to be coming up against, I think he's going to have much more of a successful game, you would hope. Yeah.
Got to. Who was it? I don't know who's post-match. I've been dissecting and listening to so many. Someone said that Virgil van Dijk didn't even have to like break stride. He'd just move a little to the left, a little to the right, and he'd be in the right position. He was,
also, the man marking of him was disgraceful as well. 3-4 corners where he was just having 3 headers, and I'm like, he's the tallest man on the pitch. What are you playing at?
It was Cooper, wasn't it? Cooper was at fault for the second goal, really, because I think he got away from Van Dijk, and he'd had the warning earlier, hadn't he, where I think it was someone just hit it over the bar. Van Dijk, it was actually quite a poor header. But that's another thing you can touch on, you know, we're dissecting this, you know, just some of the defending from set pieces yesterday. I mean, it just looks all over. It's almost like we let players have a run on us. You know, it almost turns into a zonal marking system, and you get players running on us and having that 5-yard sprint. And we almost seem quite weak as well when it comes to really out strengthening the opponent. But yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how Newcastle play, because I think they're going to target the set pieces. That's going to be what they're going to do.
Yeah, Connor, can I just go back to your point as well? Because, you know, Joe has a point about Cooper being a good organizer and everything else like that as a captain. But you just mentioned Van Dijk, and I see that with Van Dijk too. I see it in every game he plays. Do you think that we get that from Liam Cooper right now?
What, in terms of organisation?
Yeah, in terms of trying to keep the team together, telling players where to go, etc. Do you think we get that from Cooper at this moment in time?
Not really. I mean, I don't think you get that organisation. I mean, he's a talker, isn't he? He's a talker, but then you've got to back it up, I think. And I think I don't know if you guys agree, but if you're Liam Cooper and you're telling your opposition, well, you're telling your players around you what to do, you sort of, you know, defending from the front, you've got to be able to show yourself as well. If you're having consistently poor games, then players next to you are going to look at you like Diego Llorente and think, well, I'm not taking orders from him. I'll do my own thing. I think as Virgil van Dijk, he's an inspiration, isn't he? Because he's the top player in that side. Harry Maguire, the top player in that side in terms of a central defensive capacity.
Llorente's got it in him though, just as much of this. And people say the whole, and look, again, I like Cooper. I have nothing against him, and statistically he was our best centre-back last season, but you can argue that's because he had the most game time, because there were so many injuries, back and forth, Cocking, and then Llorente in, and blah, blah, blah. He had so many different partners. So last season, when we beat Man City away, it was Llorente who kept everyone's head when we conceded. It was Llorente who acted the leader, and Llorente kept everyone level-headed, and then we went on to win it, rather than just everyone sit back and shit ourselves, essentially. We didn't do that. And I think he really has got that in him to be that leader. So we don't need Cooper. This is the argument where people go, we need Cooper in because he's the leader. We don't. We have other players who have that.
Lewis, is there an argument though with, and this is really basic level, but is there an argument when it comes to communication? Because he barely knows
he knows people better. I mean, and can speak better. I mean, maybe, but again, and I think we've got leaders all across the pitch at the moment. I mean, Phillips can be one. Bamford yesterday, I watched him. There was a point, and I can remember it vividly, where we had a throw-in, and Rafinha stood on the wing, and Bamford's literally and he's like, and he got him into behind him, central midfield, which is where Rodrigo meant to be. God knows where Rodrigo was. I couldn't see him. I literally turned to my mates and I'm saying, Bamford's just been screaming at Rafinha for 2 minutes to get him in that central midfield while this throw-in's getting put in. Nothing came from it, but Rafa were just like, and he's just jogging over. Rodrigo wasn't there. Rafinha where Rodrigo were meant to be. I don't know. Rodrigo might have been off at this point and Roberts were on, so God knows where Roberts was. But do you know what I mean? But we have leaders all across the pitch, and I think it just that argument doesn't really have any legs for me. But
and for me, and just on the captain thing, for me, when I saw it, I felt so comfortable with it because when I saw Phillips with the captain's armband against Crew, it made every bit of sense to me because you've got a player there who is at the top of his game. He's a great example on and off the pitch. And what you're talking about there is where you've got to keep your performance up as a captain in order to influence other people. That's what Phillips does. And for me, there wouldn't be any better candidate right now than Calvin Phillips. And you would hope, I mean, it's not going to happen, of course, but you would hope that Liam Cooper, being the club captain and loving the club as much as he says he does, would say, you know what, maybe it's time I give the armband over and somebody else take it over. Because right now, the captain's armband is kind of handicapping us at this moment in time where he's playing ahead of Pascal Struijk. And to me, it shouldn't be that way. And I've said, and I've been consistent with that, and it's nothing against Cooper, but Cooper should be in for spot starts here and there, not a run of games. Not in my opinion. He's not at that level for me.
No, I mean, someone just put in the chat, mate. Someone just put in the chat, and it's a really good point. You know, you look at Grant Hanley at Norwich, a newly promoted side, and he's ahead of Liam Cooper in the Scottish national setup. And this is we base everything on international caps, don't we? If you're playing for your club team, you should be being called up to the international setup as well. But if you're going away with the international setup and you the 4th, 5th choice Scottish centre back, then that's got to be merited in your club performance. It's not at that elite level where you get in Scotland, with all respect, the greatest of respect, picking you as a starting centre back, and that's something that's got to be factored in, isn't it?
That's what I said to Joe. I've said it on multiple occasions, but I think again it's a sentiment, isn't it? He's the captain that brought us up to the Premier League, so there's that respect there. But he's not the Scotland's #1 centre back, and he plays for Leeds United. That's got to tell you something. Same with Tyler Roberts. He's in around that Wales squad. There's Championship players that play ahead of Tyler Roberts. That does tell you something because we're not talking about Germany, Holland, where they've got abundance of options. France, they've got options coming out the wazoo. We're talking about nations that will tell you that they look for an English player to have a Welsh grandmother or something like that.
Yeah, true.
It's being serious, isn't it? It's true. So if they're not getting first team games there, that does tell you something.
Definitely. Sorry, I was trying to. This had me in stitches. If you're worried about Steve Bruce, you might as well forfeit the league and announce relegation now.
Well, you know.
The guy,
that's not bad, Kagey.
I preferred the one. I preferred the one before where it was like, I can't wait to see Kieran Clark driving through our midfield.
Yeah, this is a thing.
I didn't see that one.
Yeah. I mean, when you put it like that, when you say Steve Bruce, I'm now thinking about my comments. But
they've only got 1 point on the board, mate. They're not great. We should be beating them.
Like we've not only got 2.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
No, but I'll take you through their. I'll take you if you really want to go there, mate. If you think
they've had harder fixtures, but I don't think we're gonna walk over them. Like I don't think it's gonna be like
fair.
4.
No game's easy, is it? No game's easy in the Premier League.
I did ask 3 points.
I did ask. I put a poll out at the start of this video, so I've had almost 300 votes on it. How many points will Leeds get from the next 5? So we had 32% said between 3 and 6. 25% said between 9 and 12. 5% said between 12 and 15, but the most said between 6 and 9 with 38% from the next 5 games. Connor, what would be your points return? Just reminding you who we've got to face. So we've got Newcastle away, West Ham at home. This is just league. Watford at home, Southampton away, and then Wolves at home.
So Newcastle, I'm going to go with a point. So I think we're getting Newcastle.
Yeah.
West Ham, I think we'll get beaten at West Ham.
Yep.
And I think we'll beat Watford. Fourth game, who is that?
Southampton away.
Southampton away. We'll get a draw there. And then final?
Wolves at home. They've looked good. They just can't score goals. They've looked really good, man.
Yeah, Wolves, that Trincao looks unbelievable.
Yeah,
so when you look, I don't know if I'm being overridely negative there.
No.
Either 5 or 6 points, I think.
5 or 6, 5 from 5 games, and when you think about the run we went on, it's not a great.
Well, yeah, I mean, Newcastle. Maybe I'm being too negative there. Maybe I completely agree with what Lewis says in terms of just Newcastle. I don't think Newcastle are going to be a walkover, and I think you got to think it's a massive game for Leeds, but it's a huge game for Newcastle as well. Yeah. And they've got 56,000 behind them there. So yeah, maybe we could change Newcastle into a 3, and then when you look at it positively, in those 3 games, you've got 6 points out of 9, haven't you? But I think, yeah, I mean, these games are huge, aren't they? These next 5, God, they're massive.
I mean,
that's what I'm saying. This is where we have a proper. Sorry, Luke. This is where we have a proper look at where we're at. Because like a win against Newcastle moves us up to about 13th, and then you're like, we're all right. It's just where we are currently. And I think, like you say, if we were to lose against Newcastle, West Ham's going to be rock hard. Then Watford, Southampton, they're teams that will be in and around them spots. And if we don't beat them, then it's going to look very, very
Joe, if you were to, so let's say hypothetically, and obviously all you guys, would you be happy with 7? So you're looking at Newcastle win, West Ham loss, Watford win, Southampton draw, and then Wolves loss. Would you be happy?
I think we beat Southampton.
Yeah.
Okay.
I said the next 6, so it's obviously, like you said, the Newcastle, West Ham, Watford, Southampton, Wolves, and then I've got Norwich because I'm just going off my tweet and I put any less than 10 points from those 6, then you've got a cause for concern in terms of how you see the season panning out. After that, you've got Leicester, you've got Spurs. So this is the 6 games now where we need to be picking up double-digit points. And I said, Newcastle I think will draw. West Ham I think will lose. Watford I think will win. Southampton I think will win. Wolves, I think Wolves is an odd one. I think I'm going to say draw.
The end-to-end.
And then I think we beat Norwich. But then that's me saying we're going to be unbeaten in 4. So do we go on a little run there? Possible. I think Wolves is the only one there I'd look at and think we could lose that. Just because of that annoying side where, you could still dominate and still find a way to beat you. So I'm saying 10, 11 points from the next 6, and I'd be more than happy with that.
From the next 5, though, like I asked the question.
From the next 5, if you're going to take 3, you're going to take Norwich off that. You're going to take Norwich off that. Then
I didn't put Norwich in there because that's a win. Clip it. They're rubbish, man. They got.
Well, then we'll keep Norwich in there, then, Joe.
No.
We'll keep Norwich in there. No, from the next 5, then. From the next 5, yeah. Draw, win. I'll say 2 losses. I'll say Wolves loss.
9, then,
Devil's advocate, 9.
9. Okay, cool. Kagey?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I'm looking at these fixtures, and these next fixtures are the teams where we should be getting 3 points because this is around where we are. And you guys keep mentioning Newcastle, but again, they don't have a central midfield really either. They've got the Longstaff guy, and
Shelby.
Isaac Hayden. These aren't players that we need to worry about. Their centre backs aren't really ball playing centre backs, so we shouldn't have to worry about those. So again, for me, it's 3 points against Newcastle. We're going to lose against West Ham, unfortunately. Watford, we should beat them because again, they're a team that at home as well, they can't score, even though they've signed about 7 strikers. Southampton, the more I'm looking at Southampton, though.
I worry about the
Gave
pace.
Scum a good go, didn't they?
Do you know what? Do you know what worries me about Southampton? It's the pace with Adam Armstrong and Shea Adams.
Adam Armstrong is quality. Yeah,
that's the worry.
Yeah, okay. Let's just say a loss against Southampton, for instance. But the Wolves, maybe that's a draw, because again, we should have been recruiting players where these kind of games against Wolves that we lost last year, we can turn around and get victories, and I don't think we've done that. So I think Wolves will probably get something out of us too. But it's funny how quickly these games go, because we got November, but that December, I don't know if I know it's looking ahead, but we got Chelsea, Man City away in a row, Arsenal at home, Liverpool away. It gets mad. So we do need to start picking up these wins ASAP.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, mine's 7, not 9, by the way, Joe. Yeah, it's draw at Newcastle, then win at Southampton and against Watford, and lose to West Ham and lose to Wolves. I just think Wolves is either way for me, but rest of them, I'm 100% on.
I think for me, we get minimum. I think we have to, and I know it might sound, I think 9, okay? And I know that might sound
fair, though. That's fair enough.
I do think we'll beat Newcastle. If we don't, then that's when I start to worry, genuinely. When I think, oh, fucking Newcastle, come on. I just don't rate them. And I know you made a lot about the crowd, but they hate it there right now. They hate it.
Mate, take West Ham out of it. Yeah, you've got Newcastle, Southampton.
I'm looking at Newcastle. To be honest, I'm looking at Newcastle, I'm looking at Watford, and then a win against either Southampton or Wolves, and just saying we'll lose the other. So I think we get 9. I think we get 9.
I'd be more than happy with that, mate. I don't know how many points we had 10 games in the last season. I think it was 14. I think it was actually 14. So we'd be what? 3 worse off.
See, that wouldn't be that bad, would it?
No, it wouldn't at all when you think of it like that.
Performances, though, innit? It's the performances. Some of the members, my man Ethan saying 12. That would be amazing. Harmony, 8. Allison, I'm disappointed by is just 6. Just 6. That would be rough, I think. Just 6. I've seen it just come in. I know we've been going for a while. But I really want to address it, and I wanted to get your thoughts on it. I keep seeing people losing their minds and having really short memories and start talking about we should have never let Alioski go. He's better than Firpo.
Firpo was clash yesterday. I don't care what Firpo's clash yesterday. It was. I don't care. I was people watching a different game.
I think
how you trying to handle Salah.
Yeah, he started poorly. I think he gave Salah too much respect. But as the game went on, he closed that gap and he was nicking the ball off him. But people saying we need Alioski back. I seen someone saying we need these. So Alioski, Berardi, Pablo.
Could you imagine what Salah would have done to Alioski?
No, exactly. It's not even that. Like Berardi and Pablo didn't play at all last season. God. They did not play at all.
I think what I will say though is about Firpo at the minute, and I've said this on my own channel in terms of the underlaps and the overlaps.
Yeah,
I don't think he's as effective at this moment in time because I think it's a very unusual way of playing. And at Betis, he was used to it. They did it all the time. But I think the period at Barcelona has hindered him massively. He needs to get back to that Betis Firpo, which I don't think he is yet. But the thing with Alioski is it was just hell for leather. It was I'm going to bomb forward whenever. It's an extra winger, isn't it, really? And he was so indoctrinated in that Marcelo Bielsa system that it was second nature to him, always overlapping Harrison. I think there is some times when Harrison is looking for that overlap and maybe Firpo doesn't give him it where Alioski would have done. So I can understand it in an offensive capacity, but defensively, I don't think it'd have made a difference. But Alioski was a weird one because I always thought we had to level up massively. But in the big games, he was always just such a nuisance. He was always such a pain in the arse for the opposition. And I feel...
And you have to get into a player's head. Pepe,
yeah, and even yesterday, if he'd have just turned up the heat a little bit more and provided some of those overlaps, I feel like it could have been really advantageous to Leeds.
I think people did overlook, and it's the same with Janssen at times, where people overlooked Alioski's mediocre performances just because he was a shithouse and just because he was a bit of
A joker,
a bit of a weirdo off at pitch, like not in a nasty way, but do you know what I mean? Like he was just a bit eccentric, and people loved him for how mad he was. And I think people overlooked his performances because of that. Same with Janssen. People overlooked, and he was poor a lot of the time. Janssen, people overlooked, and I was saying it even when he were here, overlooked his, again, note against him, overlooked his mediocre performances just because he was this big leader on the pitch, and like he reciprocated the fans, like he knew what it meant to be Leeds, and he was this big, like, hard man. People overlooked it because of that, and people loved him so much. And I think you could even say the same about like Phillips. If Phillips ever had a poor performance, he's Leeds golden boy, and Bielsa, you can't criticise him because he's Bielsa. So it's when people have other attributes to play a part, and this is why people say, "Oh, like Alioski were mediocre at best." Let's be honest, and you know we've still got Deadwood in the now who are mediocre at best.
Yeah.
We can all agree on that. So
Definitely.
we need to look up.
We do need to level up. Performance needs to level up, but I think we're all confident that can happen if in 5 games' time.
Not worrying at all.
Yeah, 5 games' time. We are in a situation when we have 6 points from that or whatever. Then maybe we'll start.
Can I just say as well, mate? That Firpo Llorente chant, get rid of it. Get it in the bin. It's awful.
Don't get me started, Connor. Just stand the stream. Stand the stream.
I know the Pablo Hernandez, Kiko Casilla, it fit perfectly. But Diego,
people don't understand what a double barrel is. Pablo Hernandez. No, and then Diego. I'm just stood there like.
Let's leave it. Let's leave it there.
Angers me.
Me and Chance on Twitter don't go down well. Who can forget? They don't go down well. So let's leave that there.
No.
I put all the lads' channels in the description, but Kagey, we'll start with you. What can we expect for you between now and Newcastle, mate?
I should be doing a Newcastle preview. I'm hoping to get somebody on, but if not, it'll be myself, and we'll see what the team news is saying after we get news of appeals and see who's fit, etc. So yeah, look out for that. Yeah,
that'll be on KG's. His links on the description.
And of course, I'm on a show on Twitch out on 9:00 Thursdays. That's with a bunch of other fans on other clubs, and including 3 Liverpool fans. So that should be very interesting. This Thursday. Mate. The Shades will be Mohammed. The Shades will be on Thursday. I'm telling you for a fact, the Shades will be on. So
if you haven't watched. Guys, if you haven't watched the start of Kagey's post-match from Liverpool, it is brilliant. I put it on in the car on the way home, and my mate's never seen you before, Kagey, and he went, "Who's that?" I went, "Mate, trust me." He just sat there in this stage, and he went, "We need to have a discussion." It was brilliant. Lewis, what have you got planned, mate?
Between now and Newcastle, no. Post-Newcastle. Yeah,
you know where I see him, I swear to God, he spends more time in the Acapulco nightclub in Halifax than he does at home. Every picture I see on Instagram, he's in the Acca.
I'm enjoying my youth, mate. All right, I'm enjoying.
I was there.
Post Newcastle, we'll see, depending on depending on the result. So,
yeah. We need to get you on some more game show stuff, man. It's really good stuff.
I have Pointless in the works.
Oh, that'd be good.
So we'll see how that pans out. But yeah,
Connor over at One Leeds, what you got, mate?
Yeah, just a few analytical bits, mate. Probably going through the game. I'm not over it yet, and I think we need to really start dissecting where we need to improve against Newcastle. Really, some analytical bits if anyone's interested in that, and yeah, get a couple of guests on and stuff. It'd be good to do some with you boys if you fancy doing this again. I've enjoyed this one, so we can do something like that. But yeah, head on over.
Yeah, all links are in the description. Please do that. It's Champions League European nights starting tomorrow, so I'll be doing some watch-alongs of them games as well. I think we got 1 at 5, 1 at 8, so make sure you join me for that. I'm going to hopefully have a Newcastle fan on this week. I only live 2 minutes away, so I might actually go through there. And yeah,
Joe, you need to just highlight Dave's. It's D4V3, so I think it's Dave. And you need to apologize to your subscribers for that video you put out earlier, and say, you know what, I didn't mean to put you through all of that, people.
I need to properly watch this. I've not seen it.
So
let me just find that.
See how much you can get through, Connor. See how much you can get through.
You know what? YouTube. It's not real.
He's playing the game. He's playing the game, and he's playing it well. I
wanted to let the lad have his chance. That was all, man. That was all.
Yeah, that's all.
You know what? It's not real life. I'm sorry you didn't like it, but just keep watching it.
You know what it was for me, Joe? You let him get away with calling us a more high-intense Burnley. You laughed at it, man.
Oh, I laughed. Yeah, he couldn't believe it.
You should have got on him for that.
Yeah,
you can't let that run, Joe. You can't let that run. So.
You got to pin a comment there, Joe. Sorry, this lad's a tosser.
Just watch it.
By Joe laughing in that situation, that's all that needed to be said. He didn't even have the energy to go back at him. He was just much like the guy who I don't even know what he were on. Much like the guy I replied to you on Twitter.
Terry got himself off the screen.
Sat there like, this is about to age badly. I'm going to put him full screen and just. I'm not with this guy.
He went like that, didn't he? He was like,
it's such a violation though, as well. Like you could tell that he was just sat there like, nope, I'm not involved. But yeah, man. We'll see what happens on Friday. We'll be back.
What I will say is, I'm sure the lad's not a tosser. Just a little disclaimer, just a bit of a tosser comment. I'll just get that one in there.
Violation,
right?
Unneeded, but he said it anyway.
Good stuff. I'm gonna go watch Everton Burnley. See how
you're not doing a watch along for that as well, are you?
Nah. Tired for that, bro. Too tired.
Joe's just like that.
I do. Hard work, mate. All I remember, like when I'm doing them, and that is Floyd Mayweather when he used to hard work, dedication. That's all I think.
I thought you were going to say Floyd Mayweather money.
No.
Floyd, money,
mate. Nah.
Right, lads, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you as always for watching. Make sure you check the boys' channels out. Great content all the time. It's great to have them on and have a chat as well. And just keep it locked on mine and follow these guys as well. And we'll see you all again soon. Peace out.